this is our last lesson on this worksheet about the keyboard. There's a ton of information on here. We have done 3 other lessons where we filled in different chunks of this. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you've done all of those before you try to jump in with major scale, okay? All right, so let's talk about a major scale. A major scale is 2 tetrachords. 2 tetrachords joined by a whole step. Now I tried to leave room because we're going to write the pattern here. So it's whole, whole, half, whole, and then whole, whole, half. And you should circle that W in the middle so that you don't accidentally like get confused with how many W's are in a row. Okay, so this is like the glue, and it sticks this tetrachord to this tetrachord. So whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. 2 tetrachords joined by a whole step. That is the definition of a major scale. Okay, so let's look at what a major scale would look like. First of all, lucky for us, these 2 that we did last time fit perfectly. So on purpose I did this where you have 1 tetrachord, and then you go up a whole step. Let me do it with this color. Here's your glue, and I purposely went from C to D. Okay, so C, up a half step, up a half, so C to D is a whole step apart, so that is a whole step, and then you have another tetrachord, D, E, F sharp, G. So this is called a G major scale because the first note is a G, the last note's a G, it has 1 sharp, F sharp, there's all these reasons. But it's called a G major scale because it starts on a G and it follows this pattern, okay? So now let's do another major scale, and let's do it right here. I'm gonna have to draw a little bit smaller. You can also turn your paper sideways if you're out of room, or use another piece of paper, but I wanna try to get this all on here so you've got it all in one spot. So there's my 4 squares. Then I'm going to put my whole step, 4 more squares. I'm going to kind of put this here so we're not confused. These don't go together at all, okay? All right, and then I'm going to put my whole, whole, half. I've got my whole that joins them together, and I'm going to put whole, whole, half for my intervals on the second tetrachord. So you've got tetrachord, whole step, tetrachord. Okay, all right, so now let's do, how about we do one on B flat? So we're gonna start on a B flat. So you're gonna need to come up here. You're gonna find your B flat. This black key right here is B flat. That's gonna be our first note. So we're gonna, right here, we're gonna put B flat. So that tells you right there, if we're starting on a B flat, then we are gonna do our B flat major scale. B flat major scale. So the second note is gonna be a whole step above, and if you want to challenge yourself, you could pause right now and you could try to do this whole scale. Now remember, here you got to make sure you do a whole step. You want to watch out when you get around the natural half steps in here, okay? And you have to use each letter name 1 time. So if you're having to choose from enharmonics, remember each letter gets 1 turn. Okay, you can have a sharp or a flat, but you can't like skip a D or something like that, okay? So if you want to try to pause and do it on your own, do that. I'm going to talk you through it here. All right, so a whole step above B flat is, sorry, let's come up here and do it together. A whole step above B flat, you're going to go half step to B and another half step to C. So a whole step above B flat is C. B flat to C is a whole step. Now we need another whole step. So we're going to go C, up a half step, down a half step, or sorry, I should say up a half step and up a half step. C to D is a whole step, so we're going to put a D. Now we need a half step. So if we go D to E, that's a whole step. So we can't go D to E. We're only going to go up a half step, and that's it. Okay, so now we're on this note. So our choices are to either call it D sharp or E flat. But we've already used D. So we cannot call this D sharp. That would not be correct. We must call it E flat because every letter gets a turn. So E flat is going to be the 4th note. So your B flat tetrachord is B flat, C, D, E flat. Now we need to go up a whole step so that we can then start our next tetrachord. So a whole step above E flat. So here's E flat. We're going to go up a half step to E and up another half step to F. So a whole step above E flat is F. Okay, another whole step above F. Now we're starting our second tetrachord. Okay, so a whole step above F is G. So F to F sharp to G, F to G is a whole step. A whole step above G is, conveniently again, plain old A. Now we need a half step. So if we go A to B, that's a whole step, so that's not going to be right. So we need to just go a half step, so we're going to end on this black key. Now, it could be A sharp or it could be B flat, but because we have to follow our rules about scales and tetrachords, you can only use each note once, so it's going to be, it can't be an A sharp because we've already used A, it's going to be a B flat. Now, here's a way you can check yourself when you're doing these. The first and last note of the scale should be the same note. Now, if it doesn't turn out that way, you can't just change it and say, oh, well, we're just going to change this to match. If it doesn't turn out that way, you probably messed up somewhere, okay? So B flat scale should start and end on B flat, just like our G scale started and ended on G. So that's a way to check yourself when you finish your scale. If you're not starting and ending on the same note, then something's wrong and you need to go back and check. Okay? All right, so again, that finishes this worksheet, which has a ton of information. Now, the next worksheets are going to talk to you more about giving you more practice about how to review all that and how to get really good at understanding all this. The link to the next lesson in this video series can be found in the description below.